What is going on, everybody? What's up, Nathan? What's up, Benson? How you guys doing today?
Doing awesome. We've been more awesome. I mean, we're both a little sick, both got a little bit of a cold, but we're here to do some deals.
You know, I'm sorry, guys. But hey, man, that means a lot to me that you guys are here live, feeling stuffy, but you're still here. And today, what we're going over today, guys, is real calls and real deals, wholesaling real estate live. This is live, everybody. We're going to show you exactly how to call real estate agents live so you don't have to guess on how to do it. We're going to give you the process. I'm going to write it down on my nice vibe board so you guys can take action, because learning's cool. And it's cool to take in information, but it's even cooler to do a deal and apply what we're going to show you. So that's the goal today. My name's Nathan Payne. If you don't know who I am, I've been wholesaling real estate for about 6 years now. It's actually their anniversary is in May. So 6 years now, done hundreds of deals, done millions of dollars in transactions. I love wholesaling. I love teaching it. And I love not only teaching it, but I love helping people do deals. And that's honestly why we do so many of these live calls, is because we know you guys are finding opportunities every day that are deals, but sometimes they're slipping through your fingers through the cracks because you just don't quite know exactly how to negotiate it. But that's why we're able to help people do hundreds of thousands of dollars in transactions as well. So that's who I am. That's why we're doing this call for me. Nathan Valle, tell us who you are, and then we're going to wrap it up. We're going to, the home run with Benson. Tell us who you are after. So Nathan, what's up?
Yeah. What's up, guys? My name's Nathan Valle. Still got to work on my intro. Benson, man, you gotta help me with that. I could use some pointers. My intro is Nathan Valle. Done a bunch of deals. Here to do some deals with you guys live. Don't take my word for it. Watch me do it live, and then you can be the judge. That's all I got.
Benson, who the heck is Benson Juarez? If someone popped in here, they're like, "What's this guy? He's at a movie theater. He's got he got some curtains in the background."
Yeah. I'm in my basement hanging out with the mice and the spiders. I am also sick as well, but that's what's cool about this call, right? It's like it's real calls, real deals, real world. Sometimes you're sick and you don't want to call. Sometimes you're sick, you don't feel up to doing the calls. And so that's what we're here to show you to do. But I've been in the business for over 20 years, guys. Longer than Valley's been alive, probably.
Yeah.
So been around the block a bit, seen some ups and downs, tried all different strategies, wholesale, fix and flip, buy and hold. Also one of the owners of Privy Real Estate Investing Software and Omni REI. So I'm just here to support the Nathans and get some deals done.
Well, I love it. Okay. And again, guys, the plan is to show you guys the process of calling real estate agents live using Privy. We like to use Privy for our on market. And so you guys can do it, right? Because again, who cares about all this information out there if you guys aren't able to actually apply it? So that's our plan today. And our promise is we're going to make live calls. Okay. So you don't have to just sit there and be like, are these guys, have they done a deal like 5 years ago? Are they even legit? Guys, we do deals every day. We make calls. That's why we're here. Not only to show you, but we're prove to you that we're not just a bunch of jabronis, like guys that don't know what we're talking about. So without further ado, Nathan Valle, let's talk about your process. I like your process. We just got done talking about it in one of our other calls. Tell us about your process for calling agents, because we just talked to another investor where it's Benson. It's a call we do called Wholesaler Rescue, where we look at a wholesaler's business and we kind of critique where they need to improve. And he was telling us he was making about 15 offers a day, 10 to 15, right? But he wasn't seeing the success that he thought he would with those calls. So we want to show people exactly that process isn't probably the best when you can do it Valley's way. The payment.
Yeah. So I'll give a quick breakdown as to what that process looked like. And then as far as my feedback as to, hey, here's kind of how I do things and here's how it's benefited me. So the gentleman I was chatting with, and it was funny, I a few months ago, I spoke with someone with very, very similar kind of constraint in his business, and to where they're both talking with agents, making offers. They're making offers to agents with properties that are listed on the MLS. And so they're looking at deals. They'll have certain criteria as to what they look at. And then from there, they're making an offer. Now, very early in the conversation, the one gentleman I spoke with months ago, they would just comp everything and then just either text or email the offer. Say, hey, here's my offer. This person would, they'd say, hey, is the person interested in an offer below list price? If the agent says yes, then he would get on a call with the agent and make an offer on that call and say, hey, here's where my number's able to be at. Now, I do definitely think getting on the call, that is a step better, 100%. But I'm not a big fan of just making offers to agents, especially mass offers. What I've found is it's a whole lot of work. And in both scenarios, with the gentleman before months ago that I spoke with, he was making 50 to 60 offers a week, and he had been doing it for 6 months straight and hadn't done a deal yet. And with the gentleman I just spoke with, literally like 10 minutes ago, he's making 10 to 15 offers a day. And I think he said it's been about 3 months since he's done his last deal. So what's the issue? And it's not volume. That's the one thing, like, kudos to both of these people. Like, they're putting in the work, right? So they're doing the quantity, they're doing the volume. Now we kind of got to go in the other direction, right? Which is quality. So my process is kind of very different. And that's what I shared with the gentleman I was just chatting with 10 minutes ago. And so for me, I don't make 10 to 15 offers a day. I don't even make 10 to 15 offers a week. I'm kind of on the other end of the spectrum. If I make 2 to 3 offers in a week, that's a good week. Now, it's not because I don't put in work. It's not because I don't talk to people. It's because I only make offers when I know the person's going to say yes to that offer. And you might say, well, Nate, how do you do that? We're going to get into all that good stuff. So step one is I have a much more in-depth conversation with agents.
Real quick, I want to get your feedback on this, Benson. Since you're obviously, you got privy. Do you vibe with that, or are you like, nah, man, I make offers all day, every day. I don't even talk to people. I just email them an offer. What's your opinion on that, Benson?
I'm not writing nearly as many offers as the people that are doing it full time, right? Because obviously I've got my hands full with some things, but I would prefer quality over quantity any day of the week. Because you're thinking through these things. Like, the offer needs to be at a price point that has a high chance of being accepted, but also low enough to where there's enough margin for the deal to make sense. So that sweet spot isn't just, you don't just find it in the air. Like, you have to think about it. There's a strategy to that. So you have to have a plan of understanding after repair value. You also have to understand the local market. Who's your competition? Like, if you don't know what your competitors are offering and you're just throwing out lowball offers, well, you're never going to get a deal. And if you know what the competition's offering, because you can see the data, right? That's where Privy helps. Then you could be more strategic about that. But at the same sense, if you know that everyone's offering low and you're offering high just so you can win bids, well, now you're getting properties under contract that aren't viable. So quality offers definitely will outperform quantity.
Exactly. Yeah. And I actually got Salesforce like 2 years ago, the CRM that's like full blown. It does everything. And we were sending out offers like crazy because we were like offers. So we were just sending out offers to agents nonstop. I think we sent over 160. And these weren't just like letter of intents, guys. These were like legit offers filled out by the real estate rep C for Utah, where it was signed and it was legit. We sent out a ton of these, didn't get any deals done. 0 out of 160. And that took a lot of work to actually fill out the rep C. And then we realized, just like Nathan, you realize just because you send an offer to someone, whether it's good or not, a lot of agents look at that and they're like, I'm not going to deal with that unless it's like, so I talk to someone, I don't even know this person, right? There's just a lot of that going out there and it doesn't work that well. So if you've been doing it, kudos to you if it's working, but I've done it and it's just, I don't think it's the best way to go about it. So anyway, for anybody that's popping in on this, we're talking about the way to get your offers accepted. And yeah, Nathan, keep going through your process. I'm gonna start writing it down.
Yeah. So the number one thing with this process is I'm a big believer to where, well, not just believer, but I've seen it work to where just like when you go direct to seller, there's a sales process and how I chat with them and a whole process of how I negotiate. I do the same thing with agents. I think there's sometimes this misconception of like, oh, wait, it's agents. So it's like just straight business. That's all they care about. I've found it to be different in my experience. I've found that I've been able to have the same conversations with agents that I do with sellers, where I'm asking about condition, the situation, motivation, feeling out price, all of these things. The same things I do with the seller, I do with an agent with a few little tweaks. So step one is when I'm reaching out to an agent, and here's where Privy comes in for me. So there is 1,000,001 properties listed on the MLS. And I told you guys, quality over quantity. How on earth do I filter out as an investor what is worth my time? And that's where Privy comes into play. Privy, like, but I don't know if you realize, Privy, the first time I used it was the first time I ever had even like spoke to agents. I had a lot of experience talking with sellers, but I went to using Privy and talking with agents, and dude, it was a game changer for me, big time. And so Privy, and Benson, you can give us a lot more on Privy, but Privy is a tool that we use that allows me to filter through in my market, not just how many days has something been listed for, or in what price range, or how many beds and baths, but what percentage of ARV do I want to be looking at? Like, yes, guys, you heard that correctly. It is a tool to where I can put only send me properties that are listed at 70% of ARV, or 80% of ARV, that have also been, 3 bedrooms, and they've also been listed for more than 30 days. Again, I can't stress enough, like, as an investor, you can spend your entire day looking through 400 listed properties, or you can spend 5 minutes and then know exactly which ones to call. I'll take the 5 minutes every day of the week.
Yeah, exactly. And I just want to second that. Like, time is the killer, I think, in real estate, because there's more than enough deals to go around. There's hundreds and thousands of deals that are for sale, whether you look on other wholesalers platforms, your email lists of wholesalers send you stuff. Like, there's so many deals. You need to be able to identify an opportunity. That is the key that gets you paid. Identify opportunity and then strike. That's the goal here. So Nathan, you're exactly right. You got to be quick, or someone else is going to take that deal.
Well, also just for efficiency, right? Especially if you don't have 40, 50, 60 hours a week to be sorting through Zillow and Redfin, or if you do and you just don't want to spend 40, 50, 60 hours a week doing that, you can use a tool that does it for you. And so Privy is a tool that allows me to kind of filter through, hey, what are properties that have a very high likelihood that they're going to be, geared for an investor, or at price points that are kind of in my range. And I like to be a little bit on the broad side, so that I'm kind of catching things just a little bit above what I'd actually be looking for. And then from there, so Privy does all the legwork, right? And so rather than looking through 400 listings, it's going to say, hey, here's the 10 that meet exactly what you're looking for. And so now what I'm able to do is I'm able to look at just those 10. And there's 2 things I'm looking for, because now I'm deciding, okay, what am I actually going to call? And there's 2 things I'm looking for. Number 1, is this a property that I can add value to? Right? Either me, an investor, a fix and flipper, right? Is this a property that an investor can add value to? Does it look like it needs any updating? Does it, is it in disrepair? Is it right? Can an investor add value to it? Just plain and simple. In some way, shape, or form. Could be a lot of value, could be a little.
Hold on here, bro. I got to stop you. So you're not calling a brand new build or a remodeled home? You're not doing that?
No. Get those out of here. I don't want that.
Okay, so you're trying to find crappy houses, pretty much. Right,
listed. Or they can be in between, right? They can look like a decent house, right? Because it can be on the fence also, right? It could be livable. It could be a great first-time home. That's also outdated, right? So it's anything that's kind of on the line. Again, can we add value to it, right? Does it need repairs, or could it be updated if somebody wanted to? Either one of those options, right?
Can I add something to this, Nathan?
Yeah, please.
This is right on the tail of what you're doing before you transition in the new topic is, if you find properties that need repairs, the offer that you make doesn't have to be as aggressive, because it's all based off of a discount, thinking about after repair value, right? So if you have renovated houses in the area and you find that house in the neighborhood that needs work, you can give them a more fair offer that has a higher chance of being accepted. Your salesmanship has to be exquisite, and that person has to be so motivated. The nicer the house is, the better salesperson you have to be, and the more motivated they have to be. If you find a house that's in disrepair, then you can give them a higher offer, and you don't have to be as much of a salesperson to make the numbers work and get that deal under contract.
It's true. Yeah. Because you're leveraging the condition, right, to help you negotiate versus trying to find pain if the house isn't, needing that much work.
Yeah, guys. And if the house doesn't need if there's no value you can bring to the situation, right? The house doesn't need any repairs and there's no motivation, no pain. I don't care how exquisite of a salesperson you are. You could be the most exquisite there is, right? But guys, you cannot convince somebody to do something that they don't want to do, right? I don't care how good you are at sales. You cannot convince somebody to sell their home at a discount if they don't want to.
I got to say something. When I first started wholesaling, when I got on that Mojo dialer and I was just calling through just random lists, every time I got a no, it hurt my feelings. Like it hurt deep because I thought they were saying no to me. I was a bad sales guy. And then I realized after time, what am I trying to do? Why am I trying to convince everyone to take a cash offer or be the right client for me? That's not how it works in this industry. You got to find the right person. So if anybody's watching this and you feel like you just suck because you're calling and so many people are saying no to you, you need to take a hard look at who you're talking to. You got to be finding the right opportunities. You can't make everybody want to accept your offer. It's just not going to work in this industry, in this business.
Yeah. So don't worry about it, guys. It's not that you're not exquisite. I'm gonna find excuses.
Worst word ever to describe salesmanship.
I think it's great.
I'm an exquisite salesman.
So two things we're looking for. Number one, can I add value to this property? And then number two, just like with a seller, motivation. Now, motivation, and this is where Privy comes into play also, right? I'm looking for, again, when I'm deciding, hey, what is worth my time to call? Are there indicators? What indicators are there of motivation, right? So again, repairs and stuff through pictures, but also if a property's been listed for, on the market for, 30, 45, 60 plus days, that's an indicator of motivation. If they've dropped the price a number of times, that's an indicator of motivation. If I look at the description and it says, cash offers only, handyman special, investor special, those are indicators of motivation, right? Now, again, these are the two things that I'm looking for, right? I might only have one or the other, but I at least have one of these, right? At the very, very least, I at least have one of them, ideally both, to decide on, yep, this is worth my time to call. So now I say, great, I found the property I'm going to call on. And so I call the agent. Are we good to start hopping into what the conversation is?
I want to add one more note on this. I think this is important to point out, right? You're calling agents because the houses are on the market, right? So what's the best indicator of motivation for a property? They put the house on the market, right? So everybody's chasing motivated sellers, but they're calling people who are in foreclosure or houses that are vacant or absentee owners, and they're looking for this typical off-market deal. When you go and target an on-market property, guys, you're already finding one level of motivation from the very get-go, and that's that they put it on the darn market. And you also know the price. Those are two things you don't get with targeting off-market properties. So by using the painless wholesaling approach, you're already cutting out 50% of the problem just by doing this approach right here.
I love that. And to piggyback, I'm so glad you brought that up because
we appreciate you.
That's one of the biggest things I always forget to mention is, with wholesaling, it's we want to do, how do I do a deal as fast as I can? Talk to the most motivated people. And who's the most motivated sellers? The ones that already have the house listed on the market saying, hey, I'm ready to sell. It's already listed. We want this thing to sell right now.
Guys, yeah, Benson, I know you list a lot of properties. I know every time I list a property, I'm motivated. I'm like, let's get this thing out of here. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to take the lowest offer, but if someone were to come in and have a good conversation and I would definitely be interested, right? Like we want to sell these things ASAP. It costs us money. Hard money is costing us money. Yeah, we want to sell. So
yeah, nobody lists their house and is like, yeah, sometime between like now and within the next 3 years, we're planning to get that. No, they wanted to sell it now. They want to move this summer or in the next few months, you know? So, yeah, great place to find motivated sellers. So now moving into the actual conversation, right? This is the other part. Like this is the main meat and potatoes of what separates just one conversation and one offer versus doing 50 plus offers a week. Here it is. So number one, we're going to call the agent, right? Hey, Mr. Ms. Agent, I was calling about your property on Main Street. They're like, yeah, it's my listing. What can I do for you? I say, hey, so I'm calling because I saw you have your listing here, and I'm calling because I'm looking at it as a potential investment opportunity. And I was wondering if you could tell me just a little bit about it and anything in particular that you think would be important for someone like me to know. Now, guys, I'm not going in saying, hey, yeah, I'm an investor looking to make a cash offer. I can close in 30 days. Here's my number. That's what a lot of people do. And what it does is, one, it's just...
That's actually what Haim was doing. He was calling and just kind of getting ready. He's like, hey, I'm a freaking lowball you right now. Are you ready? That's kind of like how the conversation is getting ready. You know, I'm a real estate investor. I can close fast, 30 days, but you know what's coming next.
Right. So, well, no, but you're going in with a really soft approach. So, and we're saying, hey, I'm a real estate investor, right? Or I'm sorry, you're not even saying that, right? You're doing it softer than that. You're saying, hey, I'm looking at it as a potential investment opportunity, right? So we're going in really gentle. And I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about it and anything in particular that you think would be important for someone like me to know. So I'm asking a pretty open-ended question. I'm leaving it broad and just giving the filter of, hey, anything you think that would be good or important to an investor, let me know. And guys, you want to leave it open and let them talk, because you will be surprised how much information some agents will share with you. They'll tell you about what's going on with the family and all the drama, and they'll tell you every single offer they've got. Like it's great. So we leave it open, right? The agent starts telling you a little bit about the house, the condition, maybe some things about the situation, maybe not. And then here's what you're going to do. At some point in the middle of that conversation, I don't care if you are calling on like an actual dump yard. You are going to find something to compliment. It could be this has got a nice yard, or this has got good square footage, or this could be like really cute if they were to fix it up, or this has a lot. I don't care what it is. Find make something up to compliment. Say, hey, I think this is a pretty decent property. It's got a really nice yard. I don't think, it's priced, terrible or anything. What do you think's been holding people back from pulling the trigger on it? And then the agent, right? Because what most people do is they ask, so why isn't it sold yet? Right? It's too direct, guys. The agent has their guard up. And so when we say, why isn't it sold yet? Or why hasn't anyone bought it yet? It's too direct of a question. The agent sees that as, you're trying to hustle me down. Right? And they're not enjoying that interaction. But when we compliment it, we're just like, hey, what do you feel's been kind of holding people back from pulling the trigger on it? Now we're able to uncover more information. Well,
yeah, I want to add to that, Benson. I mean, you can add to anything you want, but like agents, they're trying to make as much as they can, right? So if you ask questions that are direct, like, why isn't this sold yet? Again, like you said, they're going to get defensive. They don't want to just give you the lowest offer that like they can, or that they're willing to accept. They want to make as much as they can. So you got to be strategic. If you try and go with the gut punch, good luck. That's kind of like what the letter of intent is. When you just email a ton of those, I feel like agents get those gut punches and they're like, screw that guy. Like, even if I did sell it, I'm calling my friend Johnny and I'm giving it to him, not this guy who just emailed me and just offered 50% of Zillow. they have pride. Agents have pride, I feel like.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they also too, like I said, their defenses are going to go up if you start, saying that there's something wrong there. And whether they admit it or not, they're part of the problem. So they've contributed to this house not selling. And believe me, the owner is the owner, the seller of that property is talking to the agent about this scenario too. So do you have any advice because here's where I think you can really leverage this conversation you guys could become a team, and it could be the agent and the investor against the seller somehow. So how do you team up with them to say that, okay, like we know the seller just doesn't want to lower the price, right? Like they're staying firm on their price for some reason. Like, is there some language there that you can use where you say, okay, we know it's the owner is preventing this property from selling. How can we work together to get the price down to where we can sell it?
Yeah. So great question, right? So, okay, uncovering all this information, that's cool. But how do we talk numbers with the agent without, right, making people upset? And just one last thing I wanted to mention real quick about the agent. Guys, when we make comments about the house not selling or issues with the listing or whatever, or, oh, it's priced wrong, it's not geared towards the seller. We're talking to the agent, and the agent, this is their job. And that's why they take it personally, because they look at those comments that people make to them as, this is my job, this is my listing, you think I'm doing a poor job. Or when you ask, why isn't it sold yet? You think I'm not doing well as an agent, or you're asking them to admit what they're doing wrong, right? We don't want to do that because it doesn't really get very far in the conversation. So Benson, great question. How do we get to numbers, right? The seller, that the list price is 300,000 and we know we need an offer at 210. So one of the things I do is we're chatting with the agent, right? And so asking that question, hey, what's held people from pulling the trigger on it? In these questions, agents will tell, well, we've had an offer at this price. Okay, well, hey, what held them back from just moving forward with that? That's a great offer. Or, hey, and one of the things I always say to agents, and all you watching can steal this from me. Early in the conversation, I always tell the agents, hey, I am looking at this as a potential investment opportunity, but one of the things is I'm not the right buyer for every property. And if I'm not the right buyer for this one, that's totally okay. I'll let you know as soon as I know. But the one thing I can promise you is I will never make an offer that will insult you or the seller. That's not my goal here. That's not what I do. Doesn't mean I don't make really low offers. It just means I don't make an offer that would insult them. And guys, the only thing that insults them, it's not the number, it's the way people go about it, right? And that's what we're going into right now. So how do I get to these really, really low numbers without upsetting these people? So one of the things I do is there's questions that I ask to where we can uncover, hey, where are the other offers at? Right? We've been talking with the agent. We've been asking, excuse me, about condition, what's going on with the property. I'll also ask, a lot of times I'll throw something to be like, okay, yeah, you've probably been getting a lot of calls from investors on this. They're like, yeah, I'm like, got it. Right. And if the listing price is 300, I'm like, oh yeah, they've probably been making really low offers at like 180, 190. And a lot of times they'll either be like, yeah, right. Or they'll correct you. They'll be like, no, not that low. But I mean, we've had them at like 210. And I'll say, okay, yeah, got it. That sounds about right. And what did I just do? I know where the other cash offers are at now. So I'm uncovering these really important pieces of information. Now we get towards the
end. Say that again. I want to write that down. So how did you get that offer from the kind of the idea of where the offers are coming? You probably got a lot of other investors that have been calling you. They've probably been making offers around 200.
Right. And you just say a really low number, right? If the house is listed for 300, say, oh, you've probably been getting really low offers at like 180, 190.
Yeah. Right? And by the way, so go ahead. I
was just going to say the goal is to say a number and let them correct you, right? I don't want to, if it's listed for 300, I don't want to say 270. I want it to be so low so that their reaction is like, oh no, not that low. No, we had one offer at 210, or we had one offer at 225, but the sellers didn't want to go forward, right? We're trying to uncover, we're trying to get them to tell us, hey, what what's the best, what cash offers have you gotten, without me asking, hey, what other offers have you gotten?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I wanted to say that if any of you have talked to an agent and said, what other offers have you got? I don't think that ever works out. They're like, I can't tell you. That's my fiduciary responsibility to never say that. Like, they come in hot, bro. They're like, they get upset. So this is the best way to do it. Just assume, right? Like, hey, like Nate said, you've probably been getting a lot. This is a property that looks like it needs a little bit of work or whatever. It looks like it might be an investment opportunity. You've probably been getting some calls from some real estate investors. I'm assuming you've been getting offers around like 200, maybe 150 from that jabroni that always lowballs everybody. And then they're like, no, wait, no, 210, whatever they say. But at least you're able, and you can usually vibe if they're lying to you, right? If they still got the guard up, they're like, no, we haven't got anything less than 300. Like, oh, okay. Okay, sure.
Well, the nice thing is whenever they do, if they're like, no, we've had cash offers we've had them at like 280. Then you say, oh, hey, that sounds like a really good number. Like, well, what held them back from just moving forward with that? And then, the explanation, you uncover more information. But right, so we want to find out where the other offers are at. And then towards the end of the conversation, right, I'm chatting with the agent and I'll say, hey, look, Mr. and Ms. Agent, okay, I've got a lot of great information here. This is really helpful. I know you've got it listed right now for 300,000. I'll be honest, I haven't had a chance to crunch, the numbers just yet. I've got to do some homework on my end. So I don't know exactly where I would be at just yet, but I'm pretty sure I'm probably not going to be able to get up to 300,000. So I guess my question is, realistically, for an offer to where, if it were to be a cash offer and I can do X, Y, and Z, those other valuable things that you said were important to the seller, realistically, where do you think the seller really needs to be at in order for it to make sense? Again, I'm not saying a number. I'm leaving it open-ended. I want them to tell me what's the best they can do, because you'll be surprised sometimes. That's one of the things when I did my 30-day challenge, to where I used nothing but Privy. I chose a brand new market and I did a $20,000 deal in 30 days. And I only worked on it 2 to 3 hours a day, Monday through Friday. And it was the first time I'd ever worked with agents. Yes. One of the craziest things that surprised me, I had a lot of experience negotiating with sellers, but I did not expect, guys, on more, I think it was like 3 times, maybe 4 occasions, I had an agent drop $90,000 to $100,000 on price. Not once, not twice, but it was like 3 or 4 times. And guys, I wasn't calling that many agents. I was having like 2 conversations a day, Monday through Friday, right? So 10 conversations a week, right? 40 conversations. So 10% of those people, man, we're crunching out numbers here, right? I was shocked. I was shocked. $100,000 with an agent listed. That's a big deal, right? So that's why we want to leave it open. So we want to leave it open to see what they say. And a lot of times you'll be surprised. Sometimes, right? A lot of other times, though, you might not be surprised, right? They're like, yeah, for a cash offer, they'd really need to be at 280. Now, the one thing, even if that's not close to your number, still give yourself a golf clap, because you now know, okay, I'm working with a price that nobody else knows about, because it's still listed at 300. Everybody else in the world, they're only seeing 300, but 280 is what they'd actually be willing to accept. So now here's the secret sauce. Agent says, yeah, it would need to be at 280. I say, okay, got it. Okay, let me tell you this. 280 is the number to get to. Let me crunch the numbers on my end and get back to you. Let me ask you, if I do kind of go over the numbers and everything, if my offer is not able to get up to that number, do you still want me to just call you back and let you know where it's at, or should I just not even bother? Now, guys, what do you think happens at this point? 9 out of 10 agents, what do? Oh, hey, do you want me to still call you back and let you know where it would be, or should I just not even bother? 9 out of 10, oh, no. Yeah. Still call me back. Still call me back. Just let me know. And what do you know at that point? Right? Like, oh, okay, I've got it. Like, if they say, no. Yeah. Call me back. Like, just let me know. That they'll accept that 280 is not their lowest number.
Right.
There's room there. I don't know if it's 10 grand. I don't know if it's 50 grand, but I know 280 is not their lowest number. So, okay, this is great. And guys, the thing is, on the flip side, if the agent, right, if they say 300, they're like 280 is the lowest they'll accept. And be like, hey, should I bother calling back if I'm lower than 280? If the agent without hesitation is like, no, don't even bother calling back. Like, if you can't do 280, like, don't waste your time.
Yo, let me
say okay, and I don't waste my time, right? And I don't insult that agent. I don't call back, right? If I know I need to be at 200 or 190, right? And now right? So you don't have to waste your time.
So let me say something really quick, Nathan, about offers. So a lot of people talk about offers, make a ton of offers. I think it's gotten skewed over time, right? It's not because you can make 1,000 offers in a day. If they're crappy offers, it's a waste of time. You want to make good offers. So Nate, you have something that you like to talk about when it comes to offers. When you're talking to the agent and you're saying, hey, should I call back and make my legit offer? And they're like, yes, please. They're asking for your offer. Versus if you would have started this call in the beginning without doing all these questions and going through the sales process and just saying, hey, I'm a real estate investor. I need to be at 50% of Zillow. I need to be at 150. I need to be really low. You're immediately haven't built any rapport. They don't know who you are. They don't trust you. They don't like you. They're not going to go to bat for you. And, you gut punched them. You disrespected them pretty much. Honestly, unfortunately, you disrespect an agent if you just come in too low, because that's their baby, man. They get to list one property a year pretty much. So if you come in there and gut punch their one baby they're trying to make 15, 20K, they're going to get hurt. But if
moral of the story, stop punching babies.
Yeah. In the gut.
That's their baby, dude. I'm telling you, man, like, Benson, I know the statistics are like most real estate agents majority list like 1 or 2 properties a year. Right. And maybe there's it's the 80-20 rule. Maybe there's 20% that are crushing it. And then there's the other 80% that get one. So when you call them and you offend them with that low offer, they're just going to say no, probably out of just being disrespected, unfortunately. So you got to do it. Like, Nate, go ahead and talk about offers and how to get them accepted.
Yeah. And so the thing is, guys, so you've got 2 scenarios. Either they say, yeah, don't bother calling back. Right. And at which point you now know, and you don't need to bother calling back, and you can move on to the next person or the next lead. Right. And the way I end that conversation is like, okay, got it. And what I'll do is maybe I'll send a text later that, right, if I know I'm like, hey, I need to be at like 190, 200, I'll wait like a couple hours and I'll just shoot a text, or maybe give a call and just say, hey, yeah, sorry, it looks like I'm not able to get to the 280. If circumstances were to ever change, please feel free to reach out to me. Or if you have anything else down the pipeline that you think might be a better fit for me, please feel free to reach out anytime. Right. And now here's the thing. That's a relationship that you didn't damage. Right. And that's somebody to where it might not be a deal on this specific listing, but what about the next one, or the house after that, or the house after that? Right. So you get to keep these relationships and not ruin it because you still made that low offer. And then for the agents that said, oh, yeah, no, give me a call back. Well, now you get to call back, and whatever number you need to be at, you have permission. When I call back and they said 280, but yeah, let me know where you're at. When my offer is at 190, or when I call back, I'm going to say, hey, you sitting down? Like, oh, it's really far. Are you sure? And they're like, yeah, no, hey, it's just a number. Like, all they can say is no. I'm like, no, but it's really far off. They're like, well, what is it? Again, like, it's not to the penny, but I would need to be in like the 170 to like 185 ish range. Now, here's the thing. Again, they don't get upset with me because they literally asked me to call them back and let them know. This is where now you'll get, oh, okay, wow. Yeah, that is a bit far off. Yeah, I don't think the seller is going to be able to work with that. That's your worst case scenario. I'm not getting hung up on. I'm not getting cursed out. I'm not getting attitude. I don't even have a ruined relationship, because here's the thing. People do business with people they know, they like, and they trust. And again, guys, here's what's so valuable with working with agents. Again, there's a lot of great things about going direct to seller, but if I'm talking to a seller, 99 out of 100 sellers, you're just going to do that one deal, that one house with them, and then that's it. An agent can be worth property this month, this year, next year, the year after that, the year after that, right? The lifetime value of that one relationship can be worth hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. You don't want to ruin that just because you made a really low offer up front. And here's the thing. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the 35K deal that we did a couple weeks ago that we didn't make the offer until we knew they would accept it? I think that would be a good one to talk about how that works, how this works.
Yeah. We could definitely talk about that.
I would bring that up.
Train of thought. There was like one more thing I was going to say on that, but and one thing I want to point out, guys, the conversation that I went over. For those of you that are like, I know we're investors, I know we gotta make offers at really low prices. Does that conversation seem like something doable? Right? For those of you watching and listening, does that seem like a conversation like, hey, that doesn't seem so bad? Like, I'm not just like, punching people in the gut saying, hey, I know you got to list it for 300. I can offer 170. No, we're having this really like a human conversation, right? And we're getting permission. We're not getting yelled at, all these good stuff. So, 35K deal. So there was a deal, and this was one, I'm glad, because this deal will bring up one more thing that I think
Benson, I feel like you, before we go into this, you got anything you want to add? Because we love to hear from you, brother.
Well, there's a couple things here that are interesting. I just want to point out the way the call started here, where we talked about quality over quantity, right? And that was just a description of exactly what a quality offer looks like. And by the way, you never even had to write an offer in one of those scenarios, but you still built the relationship, right? So that is the most valuable piece of what we're getting here, is that, and again, Valle just ended with that, is the relationship building process. You can't build a relationship by just sending out blind offers. There's zero relationship building going on there. With this process, you're building relationships, and there's a good chance you might get a deal out of it, right? Which is like 100%. Twofold. So you might get a deal and you just built a relationship. And if you can close on that deal, not just get it under contract, but you got it under contract at the right price, and you have a good disposition strategy, and you can actually get to the closing table, that agent's going to freaking love you, right? So you have an opportunity to prove to them that you're going to be a valuable partner, and they're going to want to send you all their deals. So you got to close it, right? So don't just get the property under contract with an offer where you can't disposition it, because you need the demand on the back end, because you could ruin that relationship by locking it up at a wrong price, wasting 10, 15 days of their time and their seller's time, and then having to cancel that contract. That's worse than if you didn't write the offer at all.
Yeah. And one last point I wanted to make on that is with the agents, with just lost my train of thought. I was just going to make a point about the relationships when it ends.
Bro, that's the
talk
about that 35K deal, and then that's because we got to wrap this up.
Yes. So the last point I want to make is with the relationship. Guys, the thing is that house that's listed for 300 today. Nobody's buying it. Nobody's buying it. Nobody's buying it. When the seller does come to that moment to where it's like, okay, like we're ready to accept that cash offer, that investor offer. The reality is at that price, there's a million investors to where it's a deal for all of us. But who's the one person that's going to get it? Right? The agent is going to remember, oh, there was 20 people that were just really rude and just gave me like these really low numbers, no explanation, no conversation, nothing. Oh, but Nathan Valle or Benson or Nathan Payne, that that one guy, I remember he was really nice to chat with on the phone. I got to see in demonstration how he does his business. Well, I feel like there's a better way to word that, but right, there's a better way he goes about the business, right? I know him. I like him. I trust him. He's going to be the person I call. Yes, it's still listed on the market today for 300. That's what everyone's seeing. But he's going to be the person I call when the seller tells me, hey, we're ready to accept that offer at 210. And guys, that's how you win these deals, because they're not going to want to call the person that was like, you're crazy for thinking they can get this price. You're wrong on comps and ARV and this and that. That agent's not going to call those people. They're going to call the person that had the conversation like this. All right, let's talk about 35K breakdown. So there was a deal we did a couple weeks ago to where it was off market, but it was with an agent. And there was a lot of activity on the deal. There's a lot of competition, a lot of investors, a lot of other wholesalers. And the thing was, they were all making offers, but nobody was having a conversation like this, at least not to this extent. And one of the things is price. Yes, we need to get at the price that we want, but you want to make sure you're asking questions about things other than price also. So for this deal specifically, right, got to ask about price. And the way I word it to agents, right, and I'll do this midway through the conversation, I'll say, hey, obviously price, getting the highest price possible. Obviously, that's the most important thing. I know that's number one. Is there anything, putting price aside, is there anything that's important to the sellers? Anything of value, timeline? Is there anything they're concerned about? Is there any, are they worried about moving? Are they worried about, what to do with a bunch of stuff? Anything at all like that, anything that, could potentially be of value to them. Right. And you want to kind of give a few examples to get the agent thinking of like, oh, okay, well, there is this or there is that. Right. And you want to try to pull out what are things other than just price that are important to the seller. And so on this deal, this was a deal to where there was a lot of competition. There was a number of offers, and our offer was like $20,000, $30,000 less than the rest of the competition. And there's a few reasons why they went with our offer. Number one was because we made an offer that no other wholesaler could compete with. What do I mean by that? Every wholesaler is making an offer with an inspection period, a 3-day inspection period, 5-day, 7-day, 10-day inspection period, whatever it is. Why? Because they need to get it under contract and then blast it out to their buyers list and hopefully try to fulfill on the promises that they made to the seller. The thing is, this is a seller that was about to lose his home to foreclosure. If somebody were to get this house under contract and not be able to perform and have to cancel that contract, this seller would have lost everything. Keep that in mind, guys, when you're wholesaling. There is a way you can do this business that's responsible and ethical, right? But this seller would have lost everything. So we were able to make an offer that was 0 days due diligence, had a $50,000 non-refundable earnest money deposit, right? And the reason why we did that is 0 days due diligence, really large non-refundable earnest money deposit. Why? To give that seller absolute certainty this is going to happen. You say yes to this, it's a done deal, right? That's the kind of certainty we want to give that seller. And if you guys are wondering like, Nate, well, that's cool for you guys, but I don't have $50K to put down for EMD. Guys, we don't put down $50K on EMD. We let the buyer do that, right? So we're not doing any of that stuff, but that's another conversation for another day, right? So we have the buyer put down that EMD, 0 days due diligence. And here's the thing. One of the things that was really important to the seller that nobody else knew about, the seller, when he sold the home, he's in foreclosure, right? So you got to think about the situation in people's life, right? He's in foreclosure because he can't pay the bills on the house. Well, that also means that he just doesn't really have money in general. So he was worried about, yes, he's going to get a bunch of money from selling this house, but there's going to be a day or two, a few days where there's a lagging period of, he signs and he closes on the house today, but he's not going to get the money until, a few days from now. And what is he going to do in the meantime? Where is he going to go? He doesn't have any money. He was really worried about that. So I told the agent, I was like, oh, okay. Well, let me ask you this. If, all right, guys, if is one of my favorite words when negotiating. You'll hear me say it all the time. Well, okay, Miss Seller or Ms. Agent. Well, let me ask you this. If we were able to make an offer that was 0 days due diligence, if it had a $50,000 non-refundable earnest money deposit, and if we had an agreement to where, in the agreement to where the seller, we could close on the house and the seller could stay in there for 14 days. We would close on the house. The seller would get half of his money up front. He would have 14 days to take his time, find a place, move out, and he'd have money to do it with. And then at the end of those 14 days, or when he moves out, the rest of the money would be released to him. Is that something that would be valuable to the seller? What does the agent say? She's like, oh my gosh, yes, that would be absolutely amazing. And so that's why we made our offer. And guys, the thing is our offer was $20,000, $30,000 less than everybody else, but it was still the absolute no-brainer offer. That's the power of getting on the phone and having a good conversation with agents. And guys, the thing is that also allows you to serve that person at the highest level, right? And that's to where you can do big deals, make great money, and feel really good about the business in the process. And everyone was really, really happy with that scenario.
That's amazing.
That's the 35K breakdown. Oh, and again, guys, that agent, who do you think she's going to call next time she has any type of investment property?
That's right. Yeah. So I wanted to reiterate and just say, add to that, Nathan. It really if you can offer an agent 0 days due diligence, 1 day due diligence, and a lot of non-refundable earnest money, people, they just want certainty. That's what I want. I don't want to get tied up for 7 days, 14 days, not have it go through, and then I'm screwed and I got to do it again. So guys, if you want to get more of your offers accepted, get tight with buyers, know what people are buying, and then do deals like this where you can do non-refundable earnest money, 1 day due diligence, 2 day due diligence, get people through. But if you are going to do something like 7 or 14 days with $1,000 down or $500, good luck. I wouldn't accept that offer as an agent. I'm not a real estate agent, but I would say, you're going to give me $500 and you're going to ask for 14 days. What do you need 14 days for? Yeah. So definitely make sure when you make offers like this, you are very competitive. And we had someone that watched our challenge. He just watched what we do, and within 7 days, he got his first deal. It was like a $5,000 deal. All he did is he went and made an offer. He told the agent he could do it in give him 1 day due diligence, had a buyer already planned to go walk it. The buyer was like, yeah, I can do it. And the guy, he made $5K. He just added $5,000. Well, obviously he got it at the price where he was able to make $5K. I'm not going to break down the price, but guys, that's how you can get deals on market, is you give the agent certainty. They're going to give that certainty. They're going to recommend the seller accept it. That's how you do it. Good. You're not going to get it if you go long due diligence. I'm never accept Benson. I mean, if someone ever gave you 14-day due diligence on a house you're selling, that's just ding, 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 ding. Why would I accept that? Right. Ding, that's a wholesaler. Not going to mess with it. So,
right.
So anyway.
Yeah, and especially in today's day and age, guys, wholesaling has become very popular, right? Agents are becoming more and more familiar, right? They might not know how it all works or the ins and outs, but they know to be aware of it, right? And a lot of them are taught to just stay away from it. So that's why you want to strategically be able to go about the business in a way to where you can sidestep all of those issues. And that's why flipping the painless way is honestly the easiest way to do it. It's a lot easier to make offers when you already have the property sold.
It's a lot easier to make offers when you know what people will pay.
Right.
And that's why Privy's awesome. But unfortunately, a lot of people that get in this business that are new, they either go too low and no one's accepting their offers, or they go too high and they're screwing people over. Don't do that. Learn how to do it the right way, the painless way. But anyway, we were gonna make some calls, but this call went a little longer than I thought, guys. And we usually try to keep it to an hour. We don't want to, we don't want people's ears to, start bleeding. Just it'd be too long. So,
there's always next week.
There's always next week. That was a promise we made, but I'm already breaking my promises, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to.
Maybe we'll answer one question real quick. Okay. Hikaru, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Just got on. I just purchased Privy. Awesome. Congrats.
Let's go.
I'm also an agent. My concern is finding a buyer that's not an agent themselves or using me as an agent. Do I have to lock up the deal and dispo it? Yeah, it's a really good question. Well, did anybody want to take point on that?
Nate, I'm gonna let you take point on the rest of this call because I gotta hop on another call where we're always going.
You're good. So I'll answer this real quick and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
So when finding buyers, Hikaru, so yeah, most of your buyers probably won't be agents, and there is nothing wrong with that. Also, just kind of the disclaimer, I'm not an attorney, speak with an attorney for legal advice, right? Just throwing that out there. Okay, so most buyers are not going to be agents, which is totally fine. They don't need to be agents. When you're looking for deals, typically the way I see agents working them is when you are finding opportunities that you are looking to wholesale, you are presenting yourself and acting as a buyer to where you are looking to buy it, right? And then you will be wholesaling it to a wholesaler. You got to go to Benson. All right, guys, you stuck with just me, everybody.
I apologize.
No, it's all good. Guys, thank you for tuning in. I'm going to answer Hikaru's question real quick.
We'll see you next week, Benson. You're the man, bro. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, guys. Love you.
So Hikaru, yeah, most of the buyers, they're not going to be agents. There's nothing wrong with that. You can definitely still work with them. One of the things with being an agent, again, best advice is to go find other agents that are already wholesaling and ask them what they do, because typically agents will have special verbiage in their contracts disclosing, hey, I am an agent, but I'm not acting as an agent in this contract. Again, not an attorney. Chat with somebody in the business that has their license and is wholesaling. That is the best thing. I'm not an agent. That's why I don't want to give specific advice as to what to do with that. But you can absolutely wholesale. It's 100% fine if your end buyer is not an agent. That's probably going to be 99% of the time. You're just wholesaling the deal to them, right? So to where you are the buyer, getting the property under contract, and then you are wholesaling. You are assigning your rights to that contract to the end buyer. Doesn't matter if they're an agent, if they're just a buyer, that's totally cool too. I hope that helps answer the question. But again, the biggest piece to answer that in more depth and more specific to you, I'd recommend find somebody, whether it's through a local RIA meetup or in maybe in your brokerage or in an online community. Find somebody that's an agent that's also wholesaling, and they'll be able to give you the exact feedback as to what to do with that. But guys, it has been great chatting with you. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you guys next time. Have a good one. Take care.